Welcome to Launch University. This week, mindset. I'm Eric Ralston, and I'm qualified to talk about this because I've had a brain for a little while, just a little while. Launch University, if you're not familiar, is bite-sized entrepreneurial edutainment for tri-citizens in a hurry. Basically, it's short videos that'll help you either build a business or build a career right here in Tri-Cities, Washington. It is powered by Fuse, a local co-working space/accelerator, where you can learn more at fusesbc.com. So mindset. First off, when I talk about mindset, first and foremost, and before we even begin to really talk about mindset, I'm going to have to admit it is mostly a destigmatized code word for mental health. Now, mental health is a hugely important topic for anyone, anywhere, all the time. Basically, if you have a brain. Mental health is for you. But a lot of people, it's a stigma. It's a challenging topic to talk about. Talk about what kind of help they might need, what kind of maintenance they might need. And the thing is, everybody needs a little bit of help. If you have a body, you need a doctor. If you have a brain, it's part of your body, you might think about getting a doctor. And the thing is, for entrepreneurs in particular, and ultra-ambitious people, they are more likely than average to suffer mental health challenges. For instance, depression is 4.5 times more common in entrepreneurs, affecting something like 30%, than it is in the general public. The general public suffers mental health challenges about 20% of the time, which is a completely mainstream topic, and we should be talking about more. But actually, entrepreneurs suffer as much as 50% of the time, making it much more common. And sometimes the most extraordinarily successful individuals were actually shaped by mental illnesses that they had that actually fed into their success. Who? Well, Steve Jobs had obsessive-compulsive personality disorder, which fed into his fastidiousness with technology. Ted Turner had bipolar disorder, which led into his passions and readiness to jump into projects like building up CNN. And then Brian Wilson, from the Beach Boys, wrote a decade of feel-good beachside music while suffering from schizophrenia, which made him ultra-creative. All of this being an example of, if somebody told you, I want to be a world-class athlete, and I'm not going to hire a personal trainer. I'm going to lift the heaviest weights I can find, and I'm not going to let anyone spot me. Why? Well, it's a taboo subject in my culture. I'm not going to try to transcend my culture or redefine my culture or find out what's best for me. I'm just going to try to wing it without any help. That wouldn't make any sense. So if you have a body, you might want to get a personal trainer. And if you have a brain, you might want to get a therapist. Even if you don't think you need it. Just like maybe you'd go in for a physical. Just like how you'd maybe go to a personal trainer. It's a way to exercise the muscle that's going to carry you through the thick and thin moments of being something more than you are right now. And everybody needs one. In general, and specifically for their mindset. So moving on from mental health, your mindset I might define as the internal mental coping mechanisms that your brain has and you develop over time. These are trained reflexes, trained mental reflexes. Things like what you hear in your mind if you're left alone in a room. When you're driving out on the car, do you hear self-doubt or do you hear encouragement? Things that might be one little test, okay, on how your mindset is doing at the time. How you're educating yourself, sometimes even how you're entertaining yourself. All of those feed into your mindset. So how do you get started building that? Well, I have one starting point that I would highly recommend. If you've never worked on a book with mindset, there's literally a book named Mindset. Mindset by Dr. Carol Dweck. I have my copy right here. I always keep it. So whenever I finish reading a book, I just rip the cover off because that's marketing, not facts. These are facts, everyone. And then I'll hold it up. I'll hold it up so you can see it. Oh, wait, the light. Oh, the light. Okay. But basically, it is a book that frames a very important concept about internal narrative and responses to stress and adversity. Basically, it frames its argument as there's two mindsets, the growth mindset, which is positive, and the fixed mindset, which is negative, yet far more common. A fixed mindset when you get a negative feeling, instead of attacking that feeling or diverting that feeling or reframing that feeling, you live with it. And sometimes you even let it grow. So the examples there, so faced with challenges, I can't do this. This work is good enough, so you don't need to challenge yourself. And then also, this is too hard. The opposite of that, the one that you as an entrepreneur or a career building ambitious person, or I would say just as a hardworking human being, Can you try a different strategy? Is this really your best work? This may need some effort. And the power of mindset is huge. And the thing is, there's a lot of organizations now that are building around it. What organization? I've got one that'll get your attention. So the Seattle Seahawks. When Pete Carroll took over in the early 10s, he raced to get the best players he could, like any other coach. But instead of getting the ones with the best numbers or the best muscles or the best whatever, he started looking for the best mindsets. He was looking for grit, focus, and determination. He was very upfront about it, and he was looking for what Dr. Carol Dweck would call growth mindsets in his players. And this led to phenomenal performance in his players, where they ultimately went on to the 2014 Super Bowl, where I personally saw that inside of the VMAC over in Renton. I don't watch a lot of football, but I did watch that game, so I yelled at a television. Therefore, a couple molecules of that trophy are mine. I think that's how it works. It's called being a fan. So growth. And the thing about growth is you grow toward your challenges. Okay. You grow up past the dirt, you grow out toward the sun. So when you're seeing yourself covered in dirt, what you need to realize is that you're a seed about to burst forth to find that sun that you're going to grow toward in your life and career. And what you need to do to have that is, rather than thinking that's impossible when you see something hard, you have to think that takes time. Reframing like that. That's probably the first step. Labeling adversity and then labeling the steps forward as something that's possible. Could be as simple as, instead of thinking, I can't do that, and my 8-year-old loves this one, I can't do that, just add, I can't do that yet. Okay? After enough tries, after enough failures, you can and you will. And you know why? Because you're an American, not an Americant. So adversity. So how do you keep growing even though there's things trapped around you and holding you down? And the thing is, your life's adversities, those often become the foundations for your next step. So all of this to say that the story you tell yourself about yourself is one of the biggest parts of your mindset. And when you're deep down in the story, in the bad part of the story, when Frodo has lost his friends, when Luke has lost his hand, when you've lost that promotion, and, something really bad has happened, like Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks, they're not doing so well right now, okay? That story, that is the middle part of the story. If you're low, instead of saying this is how it ends, instead of even saying this is how it begins, you should say, and after this it will continue. And I will tell you that this element of story and how your foundations are often built from your rock bottoms is actually the complete thesis of one of the startups inside of Fuse, which we're going to learn about right now. WholeStory, and you can check them out at tellyourwholestory.com, is basically a reimagining of hiring around the power of growth mindset, learning experiences, and trying to make it so you are telling someone your story rather than just your resume. And reimagining that could be the rebirth of a multi-billion-dollar mistake that companies are making all the time, of getting people who don't fit. And basically there's a huge crisis on lack of soft skills. And if you could figure out what are the factors that lead to grit, focus, determination qualities, and how do you get those into your candidates, and then how do they get hired into the positions that need it most, and you could save the world at least billions of dollars, if not, save the world literally. So mindset. At first it's mental health, then it's personal growth, and now it might be a brand new way to get people hired. And when it comes to mental health, I will reiterate, it's like what Robin Williams said. You're only given a little spark of madness. You mustn't lose it. And there's no shame in trying to find help that you need for your biggest challenges. Taming what's in here before you go after what's out there. So thank you. I've been Eric Ralston, and this has been Launch University. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.